What is up, guys? Boruto here, bringing you guys another video on my channel, and today I want to make a discussion video on just countering some of the arguments people have of the Boruto series right now, as we are in episode, I believe it's going to be 34 of the Boruto series, and a lot of people say the series has not been up to par and it's just flat out bad. So I want to tackle 3 points that people like to make in saying that Boruto is a bad series, and just give you my counter arguments as to why I think these are completely ridiculous and people should be enjoying the show for what it is. But without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the video. These are my top 3 reasons why you're wrong about Boruto. Let's go. So the first argument people have to say is that the story is too slow paced. Now this one always surprises me because, number one, before the anime started we got an interview with Hiroyuki Yamashita, which is one of the directors of the Boruto series, and he basically said that he talked to Kishimoto, and Kishimoto wanted this series to be very lighthearted compared to Naruto for at least the first part of the series, which is the academy portion. That was stated by Hiroyuki that as long as they were in the academy it was going to be super lighthearted. So people were expecting a darker story for some reason, which I guess a lot of people missed that interview because it was clearly said that it was going to be super lighthearted and very slice of life-ish until we got into the movie arc, pretty much. So that pretty much shuts down that argument. If you want more into this little argument, I did make a video, I'll put a link to it at the end of this one, basically talking about why Boruto is a slice of life and not a shonen. It's a pretty interesting video, and I go more in depth as to why it shares more similarities with a slice of life than a shonen itself, at least at the moment. Also, I just want to put it out there for anyone saying that it's impossible to switch genres. It's not. Hitman Reborn, which is a shonen that came out in 2006, was very like Boruto in that it started its first 20 or so episodes very slice of life-ish, and then it went into its shonen aspects. So Boruto's following that same path, and I think it's very interesting that we get to see things like the Academy life, because these were things that were skipped completely in Naruto, and it's good that we finally get clarification on what that type of life is like, and why it's such a shock for the Leaf Village when they fought against Zabuza. It makes complete sense now that they were not used to this type of combat, and it's going to be the same thing for Boruto and his crew, that they're used to a peacetime, so when threats actually come, it's going to be very interesting to see how they deal with it. Okay, but jumping into the second argument, we have that nothing made sense. Now, people started making this argument whenever Sumeri turned good at the end of the New Way arc, which was a very well handled arc through and through. I will be making a video talking about why that arc is so amazing, but overall, a lot of the complaints of the New Way arc came near the end because most people did not want to see Sumeri be changed, I guess, or something like that. And I think this has more to do with the fact that Obito changed, and people did not like that, and since the New Way arc is literally the first arc after the War arc, people just didn't enjoy that I guess similarity to the War arc. I think that's what really turned people off. But you see, saying something doesn't make sense just because you don't enjoy it is very ignorant, and that's not what a reviewer should do. And I'm talking to the reviewers that reviewed this arc. They disappointed me greatly with how they treated the ending to this arc, because it was very well told, and it was exactly what the arc needed. Making a death scene for Sumeri would have been ridiculous, and it would have ruined Boruto's character, because Boruto is a character that's supposed to be like Naruto in some ways, because in order to surpass Naruto he will need some traits from him, and that's one of them that would make him on that level. If he just flat out killed Sumeri, then there's nothing else to go from there. There's no development, no nothing. It would just be like he made his decision. Him doing what he did sets up future arcs so that whenever he gets dealt with someone that's truly evil, he's gonna have to learn to take them out instead of just trying to change them. It's a very smart move by Kishimoto it's gonna pan out in future arcs, but people need to be waiting to see that stuff. And I think that's a big problem in the Boruto fanbase, that they're very impatient. Like I said, if you want to look at a series, another series that's very good to compare is One Piece. One Piece didn't get its very serious stuff until around episode 41. The same thing went for Dragon Ball Super. A lot of series follow this formula, and Boruto's no different. Boruto, on the other hand, though, does have an advantage that its slice of life aspects have been done very well. and when you look at it from that point of view, is a very great series. And it's mostly when you look at it as a shonen that you start seeing things that are lacking. But like I said, Hiroyuki himself stated that it was never going to be like that in the beginning, so it's not really a flaw. It just depends on what you're into. Going into the third argument, though, we have power scaling. Now, this one's a more iffy argument. Mostly people that want to bring up power scaling are saying that people like Sumeri shouldn't be able to fight against Mitsuki, or let's say Naruto and Sasuke, they got nerfed against Shin. Just little aspects like this. The one I want to tackle right now, because I feel like I haven't said this enough, a lot of people have been bashing the Hidden Mist art for dumb reasons. Like I said, the Hidden Mist art, I am making a review of that whole art, hopefully sometime this week. But I do not think it's a perfect arc. I do not think it's the worst arc in the series. It was just flat out solid. Its biggest problem was the pacing. I thought the middle 2 episodes of the arc were complete garbage, and that could have been done away with. It could have been 2 episodes shorter, and it would have made a quicker paced arc, and it would have been better. But I've noticed that most people are not attacking the actual pacing of the arc, the actual problem of it, but rather they're attacking the villain of the arc, Shizuma, who delivered pretty much, but yet people, they consider him weak for some reason. Now, whenever I saw people's reviews on the whole Shizuma being weak, it just made me think, do people even pay attention to what they're looking at? Because if you were paying attention through the whole series, then you would know that 2 of the attacks Mitsuki used on Shizuma, which he, just destroyed with his sword, they were very powerful attacks. One would have killed Sumeri, which was very skilled, and the second one knocked down the Nue. So the Nue, like I stated, we can assume that it's at least a quarter of a Tail Beast's power, which is still leads above any ninja in the world. So, that isn't Naruto and Sasuke or Kara or anybody like that. But, something like that, or things that are super easy to tell, and it's only people that don't pay attention that aren't going to get these things. That blast that Mitsuki shot at Shizuma would have killed him if he had been weaker, but he was able to just knock it away like it was nothing. So Shizuma was not weak. Shizuma was fighting Boruto and Mitsuki at once, and was beating both of them. I don't get the notion that Shizuma is weak because he got hit by Boruto. Boruto outsmarted Shizuma. He didn't outpower him, he outsmarted him by using the Gale Palm to push him forward in order to land that attack. That wasn't him outpowering him, like blocking his attack and just going through it. He literally outsmarted him and was able to speed himself up in order to land that attack. So there's really nothing wrong with the power scaling here. Boruto is still weaker than Shizuma, still weaker than Mitsuki. Mitsuki, I would say, is stronger than Shizuma, but because he didn't understand the use of his weapon, Samahata, Mitsuki got caught off guard, and that cost him the match, which is very Naruto-like, and I can't stand that people are forgetting what Naruto used to be like. Naruto is not a series where whoever's stronger wins, but it's knowing your surroundings, knowing the powers of your opponent, being able to think of a way to win. That's what made Naruto unique, and that's what we need to get back to. And the Shizuma fight really did bring that back a little bit by using some strategy, in that it wasn't as slow paced as a Naruto fight. It was a little more faster paced, which I kinda like but kinda don't like. But overall, I enjoyed the Shizuma fight a lot. I thought it was very well handled. Yeah, so when people want to bring up power scaling, the only argument they can really bring is the whole Naruto and Sasuke thing, and that was pretty much stated in the series already. Sasuke, when he uses the Rinnegan to go through dimensions, lowers his chakra quite a bit, so it makes sense that he wouldn't be able to use Susanoo to block Shin's shuriken, so he had to use his body. Very easy to understand. And for Naruto hasn't been in combat for over, I think it's like 12-15 years, so he's not going to be super on point. It doesn't mean his power went down. I think a lot of people, they misinterpret what Kurama meant. Kurama doesn't mean that Naruto's power went down, it's just his fighting sense went down. So Naruto, whenever we get to the movie arc and he fights, the two Utsutsis that come down, it will make sense when he's on their level, because he's a little more combat ready now, because he got out of that habit of not training, I guess. since that time. And you know, the anime could be adding some more stuff, showing us Naruto training or things like that. We don't know what they're going to be adding to the movie art, so hopefully they add some stuff that's really going to clear the room pretty much, and just, you know, let people know, yeah, that Naruto's been training. But yeah, so overall, these three arguments I found pretty weak. I'm able to counter all three of them. Boruto is a great series. It's going to get even better once the movie arc happens. That's when most people are going to jump on the ship, which I highly disagree with, because if you need that much action, then you're not really a Naruto fan. Since Naruto, like I've stated, has never been an action series. I think a lot of people, they forget what Naruto used to be like. When you go back to part 1, Naruto didn't have too much action. Shippuden kind of boosted it up a little bit, but it was never too much in your face. And Boruto's just trying to create a new type of generation where it's focusing more on developing the characters, kind of more like a One Piece. And I think most people do not like that, because they've gotten so used to Naruto's faster pace that they forget that some animes can make it work by being slower paced in the beginning and then having great arcs in the future. And I think that's going to be Boruto's strongest aspect, is going to be if he does utilize all these characters in a single arc. It's going to be flat out amazing, and could rival some of One Piece's arcs when it comes to character usage and all of that. It just depends on how they're able to pull it off. People need to remember that the Fourth Great Ninja War was written by Kishimoto, it was done by Kishimoto, but now it's completely different. Kishimoto is just doing the outline, and now we have people like Kodachi doing the writing, and we have Ikimoto doing the action. So we have a lot of people working on the series now, so something like the Fourth Great Ninja War should never happen again. It's very possible to get a great war arc, or just an arc that has a lot of people in general, since Kishimoto, that's not his like forte, I guess you could say, and now he has people helping him, so it's very possible that we're going to get this in the future. I think that's where the series is heading. It makes sense. If you read the manga, you'll know that there's even more character development happening right now, so I really think Kishimoto knows what he's doing. It might seem slow for right now, but I think it's truly going to pay off once we get to see everybody start having their fights and all of that. Because that was one of my complaints of Shippuden. I love the Naruto series, but one thing I do wish they would have done is that we saw how great Hidan Akatsu's arc was with Shikamaru and Kakashi and his team, and I think it could have been done with other teams as well, like Hinata's team. What do you call it? You could have had, who else was there? Neji, Rock Lee, and Tenten. Could have had them have a fight too. It could have been awesome seeing all of them go in. And I think that's what Kishimoto's trying to fix with this series. There's a lot of people need to understand that Kishimoto, if you really pay attention to Boruto, a lot of the problems people had with the Fourth Great Ninja War, Kishimoto has been fixing those problems with everything in Boruto. So I think that's his main thing that he's trying to do with this first beginning half, is that he's really trying to fix every problem he has made with Naruto. That way when we get to the good stuff, he won't have to worry about making those same mistakes again. But I think that's going to be it, guys. I countered all 3 points that most people make about the series. If you agree or disagree, be sure to comment below, let me know. If you like the video, be sure to like the video, share it around, and subscribe for more Boruto content daily. And yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it. God bless you, and remember, guys, enjoy the experience.